What's going on, Anthony?
Hey, hey.
Hope all's well. How's your
Yes,
business
sir.
day?
Yes, indeed. How you doing?
I am always excellent.
Hey, there you go.
I just took out all the other rungs, and all you get left is excellence. I think
So
sometimes,
we watching the beer now? That's what we're doing.
hey, it's what it is. It's what it is. I will never be what people want me to be.
I see it.
You always got to live that.
It looks good.
How is your family? Your extended family, mom, brother, stepdad, dad?
Yeah, they're good. My brother, he's just been working full time. Got his own apartment, so that's been good. And then with my mom and my stepdad, they're still in Texas, kind of working out their real estate situation. So they have like 2 houses that they've bought already, and so they're kind of preparing it for Airbnb as they transition to Atlanta. So I'm just kind of just transitioning with that piece. They're closer to my extended family, so their cousins out there too. And Dad's doing well too. He hit me up a couple weeks ago, and we had a heart-to-heart just about, just being safe. And he was asking me if I was going to protest and all these things, and it made me emotional because it was just like, that could have been him, or that could have been myself, or my brother. And so it was really cool just to connect in that piece, because I think we both kind of have that warrior spirit of just like, if you see injustice, we're not gonna just turn a blind eye to it. Because he grew up in Compton, so he was around that NWA area. So yeah, so it's been good.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to put that on paper one day.
Right.
You can't just ignore that. That's a part of your heritage, because I think sometimes when we turn a blind eye to where we come from, we forget the power that we come from. One of the stories that I've been telling since we have another 2-3 months of Black history, I'm like, look, on the island I'm born on, St. Croix, they were not given a freedom. What the slaves did was they burnt the island to the ground. They went from plantation to plantation, burned it down. And when they got to the governor's mansion, they said, you have 2 choices. You either sign this Emancipation Proclamation, banning slavery from the island forever, or number 2, we burn your plantation to the ground with your family in there. What's your choice?
Hey, whatever it takes. Like there's a part of me, the inner Malcolm X, it's like, I feel that,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you have to. So let's kick things off. I want to go quickly so you have plenty of time to ask questions. Thanks again for filling out the coaching form as you scheduled. The reason I do that, I think I share that every time we talk, is because at times we are not self-assessing the moment. We're like, well, I'm a part of this, so I have to be a part of this. And that is not true. We must be consciously competent. And so many times we find ourselves unconsciously competent. What does that look like? Sometimes you're driving and you're not even thinking, but you get where you're going.
Right.
So you're unconsciously competent. We don't want to end up the winner and not know how we get there, because then we can't show anybody else how to do it, Harriet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can't show anybody how to come out of that. So what I want to start with is, what have we accomplished thus far? And this is in your own words. What would you say we have accomplished thus far? And I'll take some notes as you talk.
I would say in a different ferocity when it comes to taking dreams serious. I think before it was a long off dream, or I'd write about it or dream about it, where now like it's becoming very tangible, and I'm developing more of a courage in myself and my own gift and craft as a songwriter and as a creative in general, just from the videos, speaking my truth and really having to stretch and speak on a wide array of topics that I wouldn't have normally would have speak of and think of at the time. And even just the different genres that I'm able to tap into, it's helping me to just really stretch this, even just with my songwriting, just really stretch my my capacity to communicate and talk about anything, So yeah, and I say you're also we've also accomplished, and this is a shift that happened within this last week, was me really having to assess and acknowledge that I have a innate responsibility as I've always known I've been different and gifted in a sense, but to really take that serious and really cut out every single thing that is getting in the way of that. And so I think taking that responsibility of like, all right, like I'm the gifted one in my family. Like I'm looking at my brother, I'm looking at my stepfather, my dad, my mom, and I'm like, all right, like I'm the one, you know? And so as Les Brown would say, he's like, you're the one. Like, I feel like I just dreamt about this today. Like I'm the one to really do it. And so just taking that on my shoulders has been a different push for myself to just take every aspect of my life a little bit more serious.
Great. Right before I kick off, because I'm going to talk for quite a bit. Any top line question that you just wanted to ask right off the top, or did you want to save those questions to the end?
Yeah, I'll save them to the end.
Okay, great. All right. So
what
was that?
Did I be taking notes?
No, it's recorded, so I can share the recording with you. Yeah, that way we can stay super connected. All right, so what I want to start with is I want to put you in the mind of somebody who is willing to fast 40 days. For the first time in my life this year, I fasted 40 days. The world went to shit. It's probably my fault. I'm okay with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm still here. But I did 40 days from January 1st to a bit, I think February 15th. It was something I didn't dream up, but I heard the Holy Spirit in me say, you're going to fast when the year starts. And I just did it. I just kept going and going and going. I think it was 53 pounds of weight loss, et cetera, et cetera. But what I learned about it was, and I think it's something you're going to tap into, is that we don't like to admit that food can cause you to do the devil's work. We don't like to admit that because we're arrogant. But if I said I got you drunk and you did the devil's work, or I got you high and you did the devil's work, you would agree with me.
Right.
But if I said the cheeseburger caused you to do the devil's work, you'd be like, no way. How you know what's in that cheeseburger? You don't raise cows. You don't own a dairy processing plant. How you know what's in that cheese? So the same way you can track it to alcohol. You like, well, I had a fifth of this and then I did this. The same way you can track it, and I did this. I'm telling you, food makes you do stuff that you don't want to do. Guaranteed. Because when I got food out, all I did was drink water. Painful, yes. Withdrawal, yes. But clarity. Nothing was moving in me without me telling it to move. But if I get you liquored up enough, you're going to do things that you don't want to do. If I get you high enough, you're going to do things that you don't want to do. And if I put enough different types of food in your body where you have no control of the sources, don't organic mean nothing when you don't own no farm. You don't know they lying to you. It's marketing. And when you put that in your body, it triggers hormones, and all of a sudden you lusting a bit more. All of a sudden you having sex more. All of a sudden you doing things that you don't normally do, and you can't see it because you had a cheeseburger or a taco. You didn't have a fifth of hen, so you can't track it. As someone who fasted for 40 days, I'm telling you it's the food. I'm telling you, because when I had zero food in my system, I had total control of my entire being for the first time in my life. And so what I wanted to do was put you inside of the mind of someone who's willing to fast for 40 days. And so what I wanted to tell you, because you asked about fasting, is that you plan, you prepare, you fast, then you break your fast. And I'll just break that down to you. I think you read the blog. So you kind of have a bit of the mentality. But here's the thing. You plan. You get it in your mind. You get it in your mind that you're doing this. 36 hours, 72 hours, 7 days, 21 days, 40 days. You get it in your mind. You rehearse it in your mind. You make sure everything in you knows that you are doing this and you are not stopping till the date says you can stop. That means if you have to wake up in the hospital and they put you on IV, that's cool, but you didn't stop. So you have to, in your mind, tell yourself, I will die before I stop. And when your body knows it, then your body starts changing, because your body's like, oh, we got enough fat to use. We're just going to use a little less every day because we see that you're going to go to this thing. How you talk to yourself is what you direct yourself to be able to do. So the first thing you do is plan. And all a plan is getting it in your mind. then you prepare. So that means you might put the plan on paper, literally enter it into your calendar. So you can see, I fast from this date to this date, or fast these hours. There's apps I use, things like that, to track the actual time. And that helps you during the process. And then you actually start your fast. Because I have the plan. I have prepared. I have set aside maybe the types of water I'm drinking. Some people only do alkaline. Some people, you know, they have different waters that they drink during that time. And again, you set that aside. So you prepare. It's all there. You know, I carry around these big thermo flasks of water during my fast. One sitting right over there. And again, I have that with me all the time. So anytime I have any type of angst or need, I can sit and just get myself back down to peace. And then you fast. You just, again, that's dictated by the date. It's not dictated by my choice. I'm following the plan, and I'm prepared to follow the plan. So I'm just locking in the dates. Every month I fast. Every single month I fast. 7 or more days. Every month.
Wow.
Because my body doesn't need food to survive. Man shall not live by bread alone or bread alone. And that's one of our problems. We let in bread or bread dictate our lives, and we don't need either. We need the Spirit of God to truly direct us and shift us to who we are going to be and who we are going to become. And then the next and last step is to break your fast, whatever that looks like. For me, depending how long it went, I have a communion box that I bought. So it has the wine and it has the wafer. And I, not a ritual or tradition, but I believe in Jesus. So I take that in as a way to break my fast. And then I just ease back into whatever my choices are for food. Because I am telling you, your body's controlled by hormones. And what they're putting in foods are triggering your body to be, do, and release certain things. And if you don't ever get off foods, you will never experience the freedom that comes from fasting. Any questions around that?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, we could talk about it and more in depth in a couple other times, but just dietary choices, because I'm making adjustments right now when it comes to, like, I just gave up refined sugar probably like 3 or 4 days ago, and so I've been having green smoothies and eating, you know, a lot more vegetables and a lot more fruits and water. And I noticed even just today, just the detox withdrawals, and I was like, I was just a lot. Like, I felt like a freaking brick hit me across the head. But yeah, I just more, I guess, education or like a blueprint in a sense of, like, what do you eat on a consistent basis? Because I'm really trying to just hone that part of my health set. Because I realized just being a Black man, you know, it's just like the culture of why there's just soul food and all this other stuff that, like, I look at my family and I'm just like, all right, I'm like the only skinny person, you know? So, yeah.
All right. So I'm a poison your mind. I'm poison your water right now, because what you're asking is for a diet. Spell diet for me. Let's do it together. D-I-E. Stop. We are not here to die. We are here to L-I-V-E. Live. So I don't ever want to hear you talking about a diet. That's for people who are dying. Let the dead bury the dead. Let the dead bury the dead. So mentally, you have to now think, if I am going to live, I have to eat what? Living food.
All right.
If I'm eating dead food, I should look like I'm dying. If I want to look like I'm living, I need to eat living food. If you're eating more of what can't grow than you are eating what can grow, what do you think your body is doing?
Dying.
It's not deep. If you can sit in your refrigerator or on your shelf and it starts to grow, that's a living food. That's not a bad thing to eat. Now, if you can sit it on your refrigerator, sit it on your shelf, and it will never grow, it's a dead food. Eat more living foods than dead foods. Because they told us years ago, you are what you eat.
You really are. Like, your body is regenerated. That's, people don't think is, yeah. Okay.
And never make it deeper than that. Literally, when you think back through your day, what did I have today to eat? Was that more living foods or dead foods? If it was more dead foods, and that's how I define living foods or dead foods. It will grow if I don't touch it. It's alive. A lot of probiotics, things that are going to stay alive, a lot of fruits and vegetables raw form. Why? If I leave it there, it'll grow. If you leave it there and its only option is to spoil, it's a dead food.
Okay. That's good to know. All right.
Yeah, don't make it deep. And then when you start getting your body off of food, like in a 7-day window, I can lose 18 pounds, just not eating water. 18 every time, 18 to 20 pounds, like that. Clockwork.
That's crazy.
My body is mine to control and direct. No one else's. And I think one of the influxes of pornography, lust, hormones is the food. Bro, if I get you liquored up, you tell me, Bees, I was drunk, I was high, but you don't think food does the same thing. And that's the dumbest thing in the world. If you leave a burger, you leave anything out the fridge and bacteria gets on it and penicillin forms on it and you eat it, what do you think it's going to do to your body? It's going to increase certain hormones and cause you to.
I would agree. Yeah, it's crazy. I noticed that recently, just with the dietary changes, it's a lot easier to say no to the urges. Like as I cut out chocolate, that definitely has affected me. And even just like a large influx of like cheeses and I'm not really on fast food like that, but there's like just stuff that's really overly processed, like pasta and stuff like that.
Chocolate is an aphrodisiac. So again, if you you pop a chocolate and you like, man, I just want to lines, bro, you on that chocolate. It's not deep. That's why they have fondue places so that you like dip in and lick in and then all of a sudden it's not rocket science. Leave the rocket science to the rocket scientists. Everything else we're going to learn how to do us best because what I eat won't work for you. That's the biggest lie we have. There's things that are going to accelerate and enhance your body. For over a decade, I was a vegetarian. I got down to being a vegan. And then the Holy Spirit showed me that me and my wife wasn't in one accord on eating. So for the first time in over 10 years, 2020, I started eating meat again so me and my wife could be eating the same things. And I said to my wife, I now understand what you struggled with because since I didn't eat great tasting steaks, since I didn't eat great tasting ribs, I never understood its addictive power. But now I eat what you eat. I can show you how to say no. And one of those strategies is every month I'm going to fast. So my body knows you want to put on 10 pounds? Good. I'm about to crush you next month. And all of a sudden it starts negotiating with you. It's like, okay, I ain't gonna put on quite 10. I'm only put on 3. I'm like, you still about to suffer. Until you learn, don't put on a pound because I'm in control, you not. Because that's what most people say. It got out of control. And the word says Jesus learned obedience by what he suffered. So you want to teach your body obedience? Train it. Make it suffer. They're just going to start negotiating. Yeah, bro, I ain't about to put on nothing because you about to crush me. And it's going to feel the way it feels. There's no way around it. It's going to feel, fasting does not get easier.
All right.
The only people who think so is people who don't fast. There's no way around it. But here's the thing. Your mind is not suffering. Your body is. So stop acting like your mind is suffering. Yeah, you're feeling withdrawal and you're internalizing it, but your brain is fine. You have enough fat cells in your body to survive for weeks. I survived for 40 days just off fat cells in my body. And I heard every lie. And you just say, whatever. You say, you're just going to have to die. And your body's not going to die. Your body's going to just start. At one point, I was losing 5 pounds a day. It went down to 3. And then when my body saw I wasn't really going to feed it, it cut down to 1 pound a day. It was like, we are not giving up any more weight because we need this fuel. Your body's an intelligent machine. You go to sleep, your body breathes without your permission. Your body's an intelligent system. and you keep treating it like it's dumb, so it keeps treating you like you're dumb.
Mm.
And you have to get in sync with it so it knows, look, you're going to do what I tell you to do, but I'm also going to cherish you. And I'm going to treat you like a temple.
Mm. Powerful.
Okay. So in your survey, you said, where do you feel stuck? You said, having too many things I want to do in a day. And the challenge is prioritizing them. Give me a bit more color on that, and then I'll share some strategies.
Okay. So let me just pull it up so I can give more context to what I'm talking about. So as I'm showing you, like, the habit tracker. So on a daily basis, I do Mind Valley, and then, I have the learning class about mixing and mastering, working out, songwriting, and just work pretty much. But I think when it comes to just tailoring or being more efficient with that time, because I noticed there is a pendulum at times. Like, sometimes I'm not as focused, and I'll be checking my email, or I'll be on YouTube and watching some types of videos, and then get back to it, where sometimes, like yesterday, where I was like, let's see how far I can push it. And so I was like, all right, like I told myself last week, all right, I'm going to do 5 a day. And then I was like, all right, well, shit, this is hard. So let me try 4 first, and then we'll see. We'll go from there. So yeah, that's, I don't know if you need any more details from
No. I had it before I asked you, but I just wanted to hear it from you.
Got it.
So here's the truth. You only have to do today what you have to do right now. You never live in tomorrow, and you never live in the past. You only live in right now. You cannot exist outside of now. You cannot exist. George Floyd is dead. Martin Luther King is dead. President Obama is alive. And too many times, without knowing it, we're either dead in the past, or we're projecting into the future. And we're not only focused on the now. You talked about losing focus. It's because you're not focused on right now. Because that's all. See, if you tell yourself, I can get back to it, that means you're projecting into the
future.
If you said it didn't work last time, what are you doing? You're reliving the past. All you have is right now. So make each now count. Be here. So what that looks like for me, plan, put things on your calendar. So you plan, you put things on your calendar. Whether you get it done or not, you put it on your calendar. This is what I need to do today. Then you prepare. What do you need to have in place and in your space to be successful? What do you need to have in place and in your space to be? Here's the example. If I'm planning to go jogging, I need to have running shoes, and I need the running outfit. I need the food for fuel, and then I put it on my calendar what time I'm going. So I have my plan, it's on my calendar, and then I prepare. Literally, what do I have to have in place to do it? And what do I have to have in my space to do it? Then I position myself. I take my behind outside. I start my Apple Watch to track my miles, and then I start the Nike running app on my phone to also track my miles. These are my accountability tools. So then, based on my plan, if my day is over and I looked at my plan and I look at my tracking tools and my tracking tools don't match the plan, I failed. Here's where I failed in the now to accomplish that goal. I forgive myself, I learn from that, and I go to the next day, because all I have is the now. And I think as a visionary and as a leader and as a creative, it's so easy to project. It's so easy to let the future pull you towards it than to allow your nows, just like a wave, to take you towards your shore. And I'd rather you learn to allow your wave to take you towards your shore. Okay, one of the things you said, I am challenged by saying no to the church group to go to Bible talks on Wednesday. Now, I've been crushing every Christian I know, because the head of the invisible empire, which is the Ku Klux Klan, the Grand Imperial Wizard, he calls himself a Christian. So I'm like, if he's a Christian, I can't be a Christian. We can't be the same. So anybody, you, my mama, my daddy, my brothers, my wife, if you say you're a Christian, I'm like, you and the KKK had the same. So I ain't got nothing to do with you. It's not deep. I can't be what you are if you and him alike. Because he's not calling himself a black man or a black woman. He's calling himself a Christian, and you calling yourself a Christian. Somebody got to be wrong. And if both of you right, that means you're the same. You believe the same. And I don't want the philosophy on it. The word says out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Jesus didn't call nobody a Christian. The first time somebody was called a Christian was in the book of Acts. Jesus was dead and resurrected. So he didn't call nobody a Christian. So if he calling him a Christian and you calling you a Christian, then y'all the same. So I can't be a part of that. And I believe you're undergoing a shift where you're hearing your voice and you're hearing the Holy Spirit speak to you and telling you can't be a part of things, but you're challenged in the practical on what to do. So here I am to give you practical. So here's the example I want you to use. I'm not saying this is going to be easy, but it's effective. So I need you to be your church friend, inviting me to go to church with you, and I'll use my example so you have a role play of how it's done. All right, you're still on mute. You might have been talking.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know. I didn't mute myself. Okay. Example. Hey, AJ, I was planning to, or no, the question was, hey, AJ, because this is from last week. Yeah. Are you planning on hopping on the Bible Talk tonight?
All right, man. Thanks for reaching out. I always value that you are a person of your word and you're a person of faith, and that you want others to share your faith. Here's the truth, though. I have these things I must work on right now. And if you're willing to help me out, it'll free up my time to attend the Bible Talk. Are you willing to help me out? And if you are, here's what I need help with. So I would love for you to invest an hour this week to listen to 25 free beats on the internet and find 5 that will enhance how I sound with my style of artistry. If you can do that to me before Wednesday, I will have that hour free on Wednesday to accompany you on this Bible Talk. Is that something you can do for me?
Probably not. Yeah.
Oh, so you can't help out. It's cool. I get it. You guys have a great Bible Talk. I'll be working my craft. You see what I did there?
Yes. Yeah.
For me to help you, you have to do what?
Help me out.
The word says, do unto others. You want me to attend your thing, so you have to help me with my thing. And that's for everybody. Hey, B, you got some time? I absolutely do have time. However, for me to have time for you, I'm going to need you to do this for me. No, I can't do that. Well, I can't do that.
Simple. That makes it a lot easier, to be honest with you, because, yeah, there's I don't know. There's a part of me that's just like, what are we doing here? Like, it felt like it's just routine. Like, it's just a part of, this is what we do as a church. But it's like, are we really, for me, I'm just like, are we really growing towards something? Are we just like going over scriptures, just okay with just being around each other versus like, let's work towards something. Let's go out in the community and really like spread the word. Like, okay, instead of having Bible Talk, let's go out and actually do what the heck we're talking about, you know?
The traditions of men make the word of God void. I looked at my wife, I'm a leader. So I'm like, hey, baby, you miss going to church? She was like, no. I was like, cool. We're going to just do our Bible study like we do every morning. Hey, V, we would love to invite you and your wife to church. Who's planning to come clean the house? What you mean? No, we don't have a maid. So like, you know what I'm saying? That weekend time, which is when people go to church, somebody gonna have to clean my house. And since it's me, I ain't coming unless you come clean my house. And if you come clean my house, that's gonna free up my time. And then guess where I can come? Your church. But since you're not coming to clean my house, guess where I'm not gonna be? At your church. Thanks for the invite, though. Go find somebody else. Bro, I have a Bible. Bro, I have a Bible app. Bro, I can pray. I can fast. I can humble myself. I can seek God's face. Look, I don't need, you know what I'm saying? I ain't judging. Like, I'm going to support the church as God shows me to. But, bro, church people are church people, and Bernard is Bernard. My name is not Bernard Christ. My name is Bernard Bergan. It's not, bro. Like, it's not like, look, I done try to walk on water. It don't work. I just mess up my shoes every time. Like, every time I try, my foot just don't, it don't work for me, bro. My feet and the water just don't cooperate, and I end up wet. So I'm like.
Okay, so another question in that, because it becomes, there are times where I've put my foot down and I've strayed away from it because I've just seen just the BS for what it was, right? And then I've worked on my craft because I'm like, this is going to push me towards my future. What you're doing is always going to be there. It's always going to be your church. So, like, for me to constantly do that, it's just like I'm ignoring what's on my heart to do. And there was a couple of times where it's just like, oh, well, it says, and they'll be quoting scriptures to me, oh, well, it says to consistently meet with the body. And like, I'm like, yeah, I see that, but like, I don't really have a rebuttal for that.
And that's where you're failing. That's where you're failing. You think you have to give people a why to be human. So let me make that make sense. Let me use English words. I only know one language. I don't speak English. I'm not from England. I speak American. So let me use English in the American format. God told the first man he created, Jesus wasn't perfect. I know that's the lie. Jesus was not perfect. He was human. He was a child. Adam was never a child. Have you ever met a perfect child? Ever? Like, they not, bro. They human. They cry. They poop. That's not perfect. That's smelly. And that's disruptive. So Jesus wasn't perfect, but he was obedient. He learned obedience by what he suffered. He was obedient unto death. That's in the word. Adam was perfect. What do you mean? He was made by the hand of God. Jesus wasn't made by the hand of God, but Adam was. He was perfect, and bro, he still sinned. So what are we tripping about? He was perfect. God made him, breathed into him, and he still found a way to sin. What's interesting is what his sin was. What did God tell him not to do? Don't eat this fruit. Yeah. So what sin is what God tells you to do or not to do. That's all sin is. He's like, bro, that's what he told, bro, I ain't Jewish. That's what he told the Jews. God told me love Latasha. Bro, I'm with Latasha. I love Latasha. I serve Latasha. Bro, my life is aligned because that's what he told me to do. He ain't told me to have no kids. He ain't told me to, you know what I'm saying, take nobody in to live in my house. He ain't told me to do none of that. So I'm not doing none of that. My response is, what did God tell me? Like, you need to come to church, Bernard. You need to gather. You know how many people use the Bible? The word says to be fruitful and multiply. I'm like, how did that work out for you? Because your kids hate you. Is that what the Lord told you to do?
Dang.
Or did your pastor read that to you? Said, you don't read your damn Bible. I can read. I'm not illiterate. How dare you? I'm not illiterate. I don't need to come to church for you to read the Bible to me. I have to do what God told me to do, or I am in sin. You know how I know? Because Adam ate the fruit. What happened to him? He got kicked out. Bro, he got kicked out for eating the apple, bro. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm the worst that ate an apple. And he still got me in his hands. Forgave me, loved me. But what I do know is when you're disobedient, he can't touch you. And if he told you write these songs, if he told you follow this dream and you're not doing it because you in church, you about to go to hell. Since nobody want to tell you the truth. You're like, okay, B, okay, let me tell you about a guy who walked with Jesus. His name was Judas. Where he at? How'd he die? He hung himself. Why? Because he betrayed Jesus. He went where? To hell. The Bible says, curse is the man who hangs from a tree. Why do you think they hang us? You think lynching is by mistake? It's not by mistake, bro. They do it on purpose. They want us to be cursed. They know that. They could have just murdered us, brother. They didn't need to hang us, but they understand that. So when Judas decided to kill himself, he hung himself because he didn't want anything to grow from his life or his lineage because he was a betrayer. He walked with Jesus. He saw miracles every single day. And he still failed. Why, AJ? Because he did what he wanted to do. He wasn't obedient. He could have asked for forgiveness. He knew it works, but he didn't. And like many of us, we in church, and God said, I ain't tell you to come here. Pastor Tony Evans said it this way: you're not supposed to be salt to salt. The church is the salt. He said, you're to be salt and light. You don't, why am I going to throw salt on salt? That's dumb.
That is dumb.
Bro, I don't go to G-Man because I like being there, but I need to be salt to things that need flavor. I need to be light to places that are dark. If I go only places that have light, bro, what's the difference? See, since y'all don't read your Bible enough or listen to it enough, y'all waiting for somebody else to read it to you. And I just read it for myself. And when I don't understand, I say, Holy Spirit, which is called the Comforter, help me to understand this, because if I don't understand it, I'm uncomfortable. And you're called the Comforter. So it's your job to help me get this knowledge so I can be comfortable in walking out what you told me to walk out. Because they gonna have you bowing, bro. They did it to Daniel. You need to serve this God. They did it to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They did it to David. Everybody telling them what to do with their life. And their job is to tell you, I can't fight in your armor. Well, B, you need to go to church 4 or 5 times a week. Bro, I can't fight in your armor. B, you need to have kids. I can't fight in your armor. Bro, my marriage is the most successful in my family line. I can't fight in their armor. My slingshot working. But you're not going to upgrade your slingshot? Nah, bro. As long as it keep killing folk, I'm going to use this. But you don't look cool, though. Forget cool. I'm killing. Like, that's the whole point. I'm supposed to be killing stuff. I'm killing stuff. And you want to look cool. You want to fit in. And I'm done fitting in.
Me too. Yeah. There's a shift that I'm feeling internally where it's just like, and which is funny because the insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, but we keep going to the same, and so, yeah, it's just, I mean, of course it's uncomfortable, but it's just like, there's just separation to it. And it's like, man, I haven't heard from 90% of you guys in the past 2 months other than Bible Talk. So it's like, are we really friends? Like, no, like, what I'm saying? The only person that like I've heard from was like one of my closest homies, Zach. But like, other than that, I haven't heard from any of them.
Yeah,
other than like, hey, are you hopping on? Like,
and see, you have to get out your pride and you have to start preaching. The Bible says God uses the foolishness of preaching to confound the wise. He called preaching foolishness. Why? Because wise men are sitting there. I'm gonna get my congregation big. I'm gonna have my Bible Talk Zoom call popping. So they don't care what's going on in your life. They just want you on that call so they feel what they feel. And you have to learn to say, okay, look, when people walk with the homie, when people walk with Jesus and they had an issue, Jesus had an issue. How I know? It was tax season and Jesus was walking with one of his disciples and he said, look, it's tax season. I know you got a tax bill because I got a tax bill. This is what I want you to do. You're a fisherman, so you already have a skill set. Go use your skill set, songwriting, making music. Go use your skill set and you can catch this fish. And in this fish mouth, you're going to find enough money to pay my taxes and yours. So when you tell me you want to be a part of my life and you can't help me with the struggles of my life, that means you don't want to be a part of my life. Because when I look at Jesus, anybody that was a part of his life got blessed. And so you invite me to things and I'm not getting blessed, bro. That means you're a charlatan for my life. All right, let's keep it moving. We got a few more things to cover. So one of the things you asked, what would make this an amazing conversation? You said practical steps I could tangibly implement immediately and measure growth. So I asked myself, Bernard, how do I measure my growth and my impact? And here was my answers: my calendar, my conversations, and my cash flow. 3 C's: my calendar, my conversations, and my cash flow. So my calendar shows me if I'm aligned to my highest belief about myself simply by answering this question: what did I do today? And if my calendar can answer that question and it's aligned to the highest belief of myself, then that shows growth. Now, did I commit to do today what I was aligned to become? Because if you didn't, for example, I don't care where you work. If that work is not your purpose and it just funds your purpose, it's work. Give them their 8 hours, 6 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and walk away, and then get in your purpose. Don't deny it. Don't ignore it. Don't misabuse it. But understand it's not your purpose. So give them what they agreed to. Take what you get from it, and then get into your purpose. Because if all you're doing is the work and you're ignoring the purpose, and you can't do purpose at work, then you're out of alignment. And now you're in a Jonah situation. So, for example, I took 1 hour today to prepare for our 30-minute coaching call. Why? Because this is a part of my purpose, helping men find their voice and unleashing their voice on the world so that they can help change the culture scape by showing up, being fully present, and walking in the gifts and the activated gifts that they have. A lot of us have gifts, but we have them wrapped up. We need to activate them, which means take them out the box. I said my calendar, my conversations. If the conversations I had today aligned to my higher self, then I'm on track. If I'm having conversation about trolls, 6ix9ine and Nicki Minaj all day, bro, that's not aligned to my higher self. I ain't saying you can't have those conversations. Just acknowledge that's not aligned to your higher self. Like we trying to be Common and Jay-Z at the same time. And you got to be like, bro, I'm about to get rich and give back. I'm marrying a Beyonce. I'm about to get a son by Erykah Badu. I'm a husband. I ain't a boyfriend. Your higher self. No matter who gives you permission. And your conversations will always show you if you're on track or off track. What you talking about? So, and then lastly, I said my cash flow. And I don't want you to hear the wrong thing when I say cash flow. Cash flow for me says, where did I sow seed, invest, and attract income? What did I reap? How did I earn income, earn unexpected income, and earn expected income? I have to believe that God can give me money that I didn't plan to have. I have to also believe that the money I plan to have will show up in the season it should show up in. And I have to know that I have to be investing and I have to be attracting income. I have to be reaping and sowing. Too many times work is not reaping and sowing. You're like, well, B, that's how I earn my money. Yeah, because if that's the only way you can think of to earn money, it only speaks to vision and lack thereof. Because one of the things when I asked myself, okay, Bernard, so if you were going to tell Anthony this and you needed to tell him there's a way for him to have income outside of what he does for work, what would you say to him to do? I was like, he needs to have a coaching client for $25 a month because you don't believe you can. You believe you have to have so much more, all these platforms, all these tools. Bro, you have a Cash App and you can tell somebody I can coach you for $25 a month. And it's not about you advertising that. It's about somebody's going to show up in your life. And they're going to be like, man, I really feel I need a life coach. Because you're going to be talking about having a life coach. And you're going to say to them, let me be your life coach. Let's do it for 2 months. That'll cost you $50. It's $25 a month. I'll talk to you once a month. And I'll talk to you via text twice a week. And I will help you align to some of your goals. Because that's something on your vision board anyway.
Right.
But you have to see it. And in your heart, start the process to attract it. So again, the way I'm measuring my growth in a very practical and impactful way every day is my calendar. What does my calendar look like? Is that aligned to my higher self, the conversations I'm having throughout the day, and then ultimately my cash flow, my ability to reap and sow. If I can't sow anything into anybody's life, then is my cash flow the right way? You know, that's another measure of cash flow and if I'm on track. Any questions around that?
No, you help me push the envelope too, because I think that's really true for me. I think at times I tend to I tend to think that I need all these other certifications or other platforms to, like, I guess, justify my experience or be able to be a life coach. You know, at this stage of my life, it's like a bunch of just oh, we're young and all this other crap that comes in my head. And so, yeah.
And if those are your blockers, so if you're 24, find somebody who's 20, find somebody who's 18. You can tell them how to get from 18 to 24 and not die.
Right. Right.
You know, and you have to start dialing things in very strategically, because if you let the now slip away because of fear, because of doubt, because of unbelief, you never get back the ability to do the sowing and reaping in this moment that you could have only done in this moment. So if I planted seed and you didn't, and now I'm reaping a harvest in a moment from now and you can't, it's because you didn't plant seed. So you have to stay in the sowing and reaping, the sowing and reaping, the sowing and reaping, the sowing and reaping. Because that's what's ultimately going to align you to your higher vision in a more strategic and more deliberate way.
Definitely. Yeah, I've been having a push recently, and I'm trying to compartmentalize it in a sense of like, all right, like I have 39 songs left to get done. And then when it comes to just, I know a facet of that and just the overall vision is having a consistent YouTube where I'm pouring into my audience or developing an audience to where I can create coaching clients and, you know, behind the scenes music stuff is that as well. And so, yeah, I think that's definitely something that I needed to just mull over more and just how to talk to myself better with, because
I knew you was going to say that. I knew you was going to say that. And now I'm about to bam you. I'm about to bam you hard. How do you make trees grow?
You plant seeds and water them.
No, you don't have to water them. There's something called rain. And last time I checked, you don't look sunny. You know what I'm saying? You might be light, but you don't look like the sun. How arrogant of us to think we always have to be the way God blesses us. Here's what I mean by that. On my prayer list, it says, God, thank you for providing for me, even when you use my hands to do it, because he doesn't have to use my hands to do it. And here's the thing. If you believe he can only use your hand to provide for you or to bless you, guess what you're blocking?
God for me to bless me.
All the ways. All the ways. I had a crisis of faith during my fast. God was like, how dare you think I need you to work for me to give you money? He was like, people win the lottery every week. How dare you? How dare you? There's people who were born, they have a trust fund, they never have to work. How dare you? And of course, all the lies. Well, my parents ain't got me a trust fund. I don't even play the lottery. How am I going to win? I'm like, how? He was like, how dare people die and leave people an inheritance they never met? How dare you? Because those are some of the lies we believe, Anthony. That he really has to use to block. He doesn't. But if that's what you believe, he's not going to fight you over it. And for many of us, that's what we believe. We believe we have to do something for him to bless us. That's not true. Look at little kids. Bro, they ain't sowing and reaping. They getting fully taken care of. Unless you become like a little child, you can never enter the kingdom. I just understand some things. So I'm like, okay, God, I'm getting out your way. Like all the way out your way. I'm going to do what I need to do and that I can understand to do. I'm human. But I won't doubt that you can do things that I don't understand that you can do. All right. Seems like I lost you. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to get back on. And then I will wrap the call. Okay, I see you just joined back. What's going on? What's going on?
Phone died out of nowhere. I was having it charged and I was lost the sauce. And I was like, freaking just died out of nowhere. So I had to call my computer. My bad.
But that's what I meant about you have to prepare. You have to plan and prepare because, again, small thing, but if your phone dies,
Right.
see what I'm saying? So you have to plan. Like you planned to be on the call. It was planned. It was on your calendar, all of that. But you also have to be prepared. What tools, what situations do I need to align so that I can maximize what I'm doing? And what I find, people say, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. But when you fail to plan and fail to prepare, then you are going to fail, right? You're going to fail. We're going to switch the conversation really quickly and we're going to close. So I'm going to tell you a bit of, if you do your work, what your July will look like. So you have to get to your 100 songs in June. That's your goal. Whatever hard work that takes, whatever struggles that takes, just struggle. Let's do it. It's work. Just do the work. You work. You do work you already hate. So why are you not doing the work you don't hate? You are able to complete that. You're able. You can. Own it. Push towards it. Cry towards it. Pray towards it. Move towards it. Breathe towards it. Be it. Get to your 100 songs. Then in July, and the reason I do this so far out, so your brain can start planning and preparing. In July, I'm going to challenge you to release a mixtape. And I have a title that I find interesting and intriguing because I think it aligns with this moment. And the title of your album can be the Black Lives Matters collection by Jabre. And about 7 to 13 songs, of course, released on SoundCloud because we talked about that already. And I put together some of the song titles. I re-listened to some of them today. And I had about 8 that I felt resonated well together. Awakened, Fear of Fear, Ghost of Me, Tell Me Why, Living Is So Worth It, Back Against the Wall, Great Opposition, Message to You. And I think those songs really worked well together in terms of showcasing your style, your growth, but allowing some creativity. But before you get to that, you have to complete your 100 songs by the end of June. That's a major moment for you and a major milestone. So allow that to be what you focus on and dial in on as you continue in June. Now, the question I want you to consistently ask is, what adjustments do I need to make? Some days you're going to just have to sleep. Some days you're going to just have to crank out 4 songs. Make it happen. Just Focus on adjusting while adjusting. One of the biggest things we do wrong is we make excuses for the adjustments we have to make while adjusting. No one drives their car and doesn't have to make small shifts. No one rides their bike. No one takes any transportation, doesn't have to make small adjustments to get there. That's what I want you to focus on. What small adjustments that you must make to get to where you're going. July is going to be about recording, mastering, and releasing. Recording, mastering, and releasing. You're taking classes, I get it, but I don't need your hurry up and wait to be a hurry up and wait. I need you to record, master, and release. And that's why I re-listened to your first album today to capture the quality of that release, knowing that if all you do is best yourself, you're definitely growing, you're definitely getting to a higher level. And also a project for July is about connecting with A&Rs to see who you can connect with, who you can serve, and who you can grow with in the musicianship of what you do. And I have some links of how to do that in some emails that I would challenge you to use and reach out to people. And again, it's not about them signing you. It's not about forcing yourself on them. It's about connection, serving, and growing, because real relationships will produce more beauty than a fast connection. And then another challenge I'll have for you in the month of July is send an email or introduction to 100 DJs, 100 records executives. And that's using Instagram DM, Facebook Messenger, Twitter DM, or Snapchat. Real informal, real loose, but again, it's about connecting, serving, and growing. And as I was thinking about this for you, what I want you to focus on is getting to 100. You can send 100 DMs in a day. It's not that difficult. But you get to that number because, again, you sow, you will reap. You sow, you will reap. I saw this guy, he said he was DMing all his top 5 rappers, asking them who was their top 5 rappers. And he was like, no one who mattered responded. And then out of the blue, Eminem just hit him up and just responded, here are my top 5s, thanks for asking, and here's my extra top 5. And he was like, what? Eminem of all people? Brought everybody COVID-19 right now. You know what I'm saying? So it created the unique opportunity for what? Connection. And then how did this person serve him? Eminem is not on social media, so he gave Eminem something to talk about socially, a lane he has mastered and dominated that allowed a bigger connection. Right. And it allowed growth, but without the initial catalyst, nothing comes of it. So I thought that was very interesting. I wrote a little script, and you could tailor it to how you want it, but I wrote it from a perspective of business and connection. So it says, hi, my name is Anthony, and as a musician, I would like to ask 3 questions I feel would empower me to make the most out of my music career. Number 1, who would you suggest I listen to or follow to understand how to create music that impacts the culturescape in a sustainable way? Number 2, what are musicians not aware of in 2020 that can help them brand, market, and connect with larger audiences consistently? And then number 3, what genre of music will be the most relevant this decade, and which artists are in the best position to dominate the decade? Like all that flowery pop stuff, oh, that ain't popping off. Right. You know what I'm saying? All these people who had these brilliant Bruno Mars, Taylor Swift style pop albums to release in 2020, just go ahead and put that on the shelf.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody's listening to that. Yeah. It's just what it is. And by having these conversations and the fact that you have a music background, and what I would want you to strategically do is, if you use that format, you would have your SoundCloud link like in your signature. So if they choose to check out your stuff, they do, but you never ask them to. Right. You see what I'm saying? Because what you're there for is a connection, because that connection will drive more relevance than just saying, hey man, listen to my music. Mm-hmm. And then in July, I'll also need a photo shoot, updated photo shoot of you, however you want to accomplish that. It has to be beautiful, artistic photography, representing your cultural heritage, your growth as a human, and your willingness to be transformed. I think one of the things we don't do enough is we don't capture enough of our state. All a picture is a capture of your state. In Native American cultures, a lot of times they wouldn't allow pictures. Why? Because they didn't want to be trapped in a state and misrepresented. So they always wanted to be fluid, which is how life really is. But when we take pictures, we capture a state. I have a picture of Kobe on my wall. I didn't think it would be relevant. I got it because it was Kobe versus Gary Payton when we had a basketball team, the Seattle Sonics. The Seattle Sonics no longer exist, and Kobe did. But why have that captured state? So I want you to capture a state in July, because I think that will mark a lot of your accomplishment and allow you to share some images about yourself in season that really showcase who you are, your cultural heritage, and a lot of your growth. Any questions around anything that I just talked about?
Yeah. Do it. I'll have this recording, right? Because I'll have to get
I have an email that I'm going to send you as well.
I was like, you know what I'm saying? The headspace. It's like, all right, there's a lot.
Don't say that. Say I'm aligned. When you say this is a lot, what you're saying is, so quick backstory. God told Abraham to go, leave everything behind and go. Who did he take? He took Lot. Lot was who? His nephew of his dead brother. People today say that is your what? Lot in life. God stopped speaking to Abraham until Abraham and Lot had a fallout, and Lot said to him, we have too much people, money, cattle, and my people beefing with your people. And Abraham, being the uncle, said, look, you're my nephew, I love you. Whatever land you choose, whatever side you choose, I'll go the opposite. And the second Lot left, God started talking to Abraham again. He said, go up on that mountain. Whatever you see in the sky star-wise, that will be the size of your family. Whatever you see on the beach sand-wise, that'll be the size of your family. But too many times we are like, man, that's a lot. And God's like, ooh, I'm trying to give you more, but you keep bringing a lot to the table.
Okay.
So say, I'm aligned.
I'm aligned.
Because if you weren't aligned, you would have all this free time.
Right.
You'd be binge watching The Simpsons like it's relevant. Talking on Twitter like, The Simpsons predicting prophecy. You see everything they say come, bruh, stop watching The Simpsons. Why you got so much time? Because you unaligned.
Right. All right. Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
So I'm sending that now. That's going to hit your desk shortly. And then, yeah, I can get you a copy of the call. Any questions before we close?
When it comes to expanding a vocabulary, resources for that, because I think a challenge at times when it comes to the songwriting aspect is not rehashing a lot of words a lot of times. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. But I'm going to bam you because so I listened to Trolls today. I listened to it for the first time. And I just listened. And I read some of the comments. I was like, #1 song trending on YouTube Music right now. They said words I've heard my whole life. And one of the things we tend to do is we tend to want to sound like who we're not. Now, if you grow, and so your vocabulary grows, and you sound like you are, then cool. But if you're not Michael Eric Dyson, you shouldn't sound like Michael Eric Dyson. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you don't teach at Harvard, you shouldn't sound like you teach at Harvard.
Okay.
And the reason we want to do that is because they told us to put on their white sheets, their white clothes, their white culture. You're so articulate. Fuck you. How articulate is that?
Okay, got it.
Because you're trying to be so that you forgot what got you here.
All right.
You're trying to fight in Saul's armor. Now, if you naturally grow your vocabulary, if you say, I want to work on my vocabulary, much like Malcolm X did, and just become more cool. Bro, after I finish my MBA, I'm going to sound different. I got an MBA. But I ain't going to try to sound like I got one and I ain't got one. Like, it's not deep.
Right. Okay.
And what we have been taught to do is fake the funk. Instead of being exactly who we are. So then when we really grow, what does everybody talk about? Man, look at the growth. And when you've been pretending to be grown, but you can't handle adulting.
Yeah, it's a different thing. All right, got it.
Yeah, so just express at your level until you outgrow your level.
Okay.
I believe you can do this, but I don't believe yet that you have belief in yourself. And that bothers me. And here's what I'm going to share this testimony from this week. I always tell people I don't teach from yesterday. I teach from my real life in real time. So I wanted an increase in cash flow this week. Not promised money, means future projected. This week. I said, okay, God, I want to focus on making money this week because when I look at my cash flow, I want increased cash flow. He told me to do one thing, AJ. I did the one thing. He said, reach out to this one situation. I reached out to this one situation. And I was like, what else do you want me to do? I got some writing I feel I need. He's like, don't write this week. Okay, I was like, just invest time in your wife. I'm just investing time in my wife. Then something happened, and I was like, wait, time out now. Someone just paid me. And I'm looking at it, and I'm showing my wife, and she's like, praise God. I'm like, she sees me starting to tear up, and she's like, why are you tearing up? I was like, because I heard God. I obeyed, but I didn't believe. And you know how I knew I didn't believe? Because if you believe something is going to happen, you prepare for it to
happen.
And so when I watch you sometimes, and I get to coach you now, I can see where you're not preparing for it to happen. I could see in your heart already you're preparing to release another album to nobody listening. Why would you do that?
I don't know. And I struggle with that. Yeah.
Frederick Douglass reminded us, without struggle, there is no progress.
Right.
And don't laugh, but it's funny. So you tell me somebody go sing about horses in the back, and I'm watching this writing and your lyricism level that all the way up, and he gonna be more I just, you know, I look, I'm very intelligent because God gave me wisdom, but I'm not deep. And you tell me he gonna sing about horses, and his music will be more relevant than what I've seen you write in the last 30, 60 days? You tripping. Now, what you have to admit to yourself is, Bernard, I'm not a marketer. Okay, that's not your job then. Find marketers. You think people not trying to ride your wave and be a part of your team as you grow to become bigger than J. Cole, bigger than Kendrick? You know how many people want to be in Drake camp right now?
Right.
So there are people who, they like, bro, I can't rap. Bro, I can't write around this. But if you let me help you and the money work as we grow, I'm in. And that's what they want to do. They want to market, bro. They want to be like, bro, like he got music that's good. That's what they, okay, so let me make it make sense. You're like, B, that's still a little deep. So there's this guy, he was really great at making music, but he talked kind of like this. So, you know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't really gonna, it's Michael Jackson. Then he hooked up with Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones, who had wrote music for Frank Sinatra. Quincy Jones, who had wrote music for movies, scored music for movies. Quincy Jones, who had all this relevant music experience and connections. And then Michael Jackson goes from just another amazing, bro, we black. Like it's a ton of amazing black singers.
Right.
But he goes from being just another amazing black singer to being the guy. but not by himself, AJ. And the reason you struggling because the lie in your head is you gonna do it by yourself. I just told you what your next album could be called. I just told you what tracks you need.
Right.
It's always a team, but the lie is if we don't control the team, because we call them owners and everybody else are players. So the truth is we need to start calling them what they are, slaves. And because you don't feel like an owner or a boss, you think you by yourself. And that's why in the Bible, when the prophet was going through a crisis of faith and he said to God, but it's just me. God said, I have 400 who did not bow the knee that you haven't seen. And because you haven't seen, you think you're the only one. Stop lying to yourself. I got people to help you.
Okay.
But are you humble enough to just do your part and just do it well? Because if you do your part and you do it well, bro, the marketers who want to be on your team, the people who want to help get you, bro, I was listening to him first. If I text him, he texts me right back because I was like, his day one. That's all they want.
Right.
That's all they want. Can you send me a song first so I can twerk on TikTok? Bro, please. Like I got 5 million followers. You send me your song first. You put me in the video when you finally shoot one in my area. You're like, okay, I'm moving to Atlanta anyway. Bring all of that junk. We go figure it out.
Got it. Yeah, I think you helped me shift in that perspective because I guess I get disillusioned with every aspect of the music industry and thinking that, like, of course I want to be educated in because I want to get screwed over in that realm, but thinking that I have to do it all by myself at times.
Listen to what you said. I'm so worried about being screwed over. I screw myself over so I'm not screwed over.
Yeah, that does make sense.
No, it makes sense. It's just not gonna make money.
Right.
It's just not gonna make money. Because you are building on what other people did anyway. Bro, I ain't never made a keyboard. You never made a microphone. We use them. I ain't never made a computer. I ain't write the software I use, but I'm going to use it. I remember when someone broke that down to me. He was like, I don't know how a car engine works, but I know how to drive and I know how to use that car to get from point A to point B when I need to. He's like, I'm never going to learn how a car engine works. If the car breaks, I take it to the people who unbrake cars. That's what he said. They unbrake cars. He's like, I don't even need to know what it's called. I'm like, my car broke. I need you to unbrake my car and just send me the bill. And he was like, now if the bill looked fishy, I'm gonna question some things. You don't want me to question some things because I got people who can ask the real hard questions. You don't want to get asked the real hard questions by people who ask the real hard questions. You know what I'm saying? But just unbrake my car, send me the bill, we good.
Right.
Jesus had disciples, bro. Jesus ain't wrote a book in the Bible. Not one. He ain't even thought about writing a book in the Bible. He ain't even assigned to write a book in the Bible to anybody. He ain't even told nobody to do it, bro. He's just like, I'm gonna live my life. I'm gonna accomplish my purpose. Y'all, if y'all willing to rock with me, I got you.
That's a trip too. I never thought about that piece too. Like, he never was like, yo, write this down. It's just like living life.
Just living his best life. What that bad to do? He was like, bro, I ain't got time for that.
Vocals and thank you for that.
Yeah, you just have to have more fun with what your life should be.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna knock out my life book maybe the next time they have one, and then I'll push on you to really revisit the steps. But I wanted to make sure I got through it myself first. I think it's a powerful tool.
It is.
But I think just like any tool, if you're not willing to use it, you know, and you have these tools around you, AJ, and you're running from your transformation. Like me going to, bro, I don't, like, personally, I don't want to do an MBA, but I ain't got nothing to do with what, if God told me to do it, I'm doing it. Not only did he tell me to do it, he was like, I'm paying for it. So bro, he took away my excuse. I'm like, oh, I got to go do this. So the second I know I have to go do it, now what did that just remind you? Now I got to believe that if it's a 2-year program, in 2 years, I'm going to have my MBA. I'm going to make the connections that I could only make as I go through a program to get my MBA. The person who found, have you heard of the Android phone?
Yeah.
One of the founders of Android, he graduated from that MBA program, and he comes back and lectures from time to time.
Wow.
So again, I can run from destiny, or I can run to destiny. And I don't want you running from destiny when you should be running to destiny.
Yeah, I'm about to bang out these songs after the call.
All right, man. You have a phenomenal evening. When Zoom does whatever Zoom does, I'll get you the recording. I sent you the email, and just believe. And if you struggle with belief, there's this phenomenal story in the Bible where a father has his son in front of Jesus. Jesus is healing everybody else. His son is not being healed. So he's like, Jesus, can you heal my son? Jesus is like, of course I can. But do you believe? And immediately the father realized it was him. He said, help my unbelief. Because what God says is, be it unto you according to your faith. If you don't believe, I ain't giving it to you. So if you believe, he'll give it to you. And belief gonna make you look stupid, AJ. You saying you going from nobody in your family who's millionaires, nobody in your family who's a national celebrity, to being the guy. I dare you to call all your family members and say that and watch them laugh.
Right.
Like, bro, I ain't Dave Chappelle. I ain't cracking jokes. I'm telling you, I'm the guy.
Right.
And anytime I struggle with belief, I say, like when I started tearing up, made my wife prayed. I said, Lord, help my unbelief. Help me to believe what you told me is enough. I sent one message, AJ, money. 5K. Doing exactly what God told me to do. And I just started crying because I saw my unbelief. And think about how much more God could do for us if we just believe. He said, do it, do it.
All right.
All right, man. You know, you're like, man, B, I might need to schedule these in the middle of the day. You got me on. I got to sleep at some point. It's cool.
I'm not tripping on the sleep part. The biggest thing was just, that was the belief piece. Is it teeters? Because there'll be some days where I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm about to freaking take over the world and freaking like, and then there are other days where it's just like the insecurities kick in and this is like, can I do this? You know, and this past week, and I communicated that to you a couple of days ago. I'm just like really challenged with urges. It was just like, yeah, it's just challenging. It's just definitely a challenge in this season. So
let me show you a gift. This is a gift. You know who Issa Rae is, right? Mm-hmm. You know what she called her first major series? Insecure. You want to know why?
Crazy insecure. Yeah.
But she was insecure.
All right.
Insecure enough that when she started the YouTube series, both Gabrielle Union and Pharrell hit her up when they saw it and was like, if you trying to go big, we trying to help you go big. And a few months later, she was on HBO, writing and producing her own show from a YouTube series. Because she did it while she was insecure. Good night. I could do this all day. You know what I'm saying? You're like, bro, I don't run out. I do this all day.
Right. All right. Thank you. All right. Take it easy, man.
You too.